Hello everyone, and welcome to the first series of many. This will be Forzatography behind the pictures, as we'll dub this. And this will essentially show you some of the pictures I've been asked to explain. And this is more of a visual instead of the reading and me showing small pictures here and there. I'll actually go through each of the settings for each picture and how I run it down. We will start with the actual picture we're going to end up with, and then I'll run you all the way through from the default settings to where the car needs to be placed, what you need to do to accomplish this picture, and such and sorts. So this very first one is going to be just a tutorial of the basic settings that are in Forza Motorsport. Now, this is just a standard photo of a top secret Supra. Not a Supra, a S15, I'm sorry. If I make any more dumb mistakes like that, please put it in the comment section or message me, and I will quickly fix those with a description. Also in the description you will see my thread to the behind the pictures, which will show other so some of the pictures I've taken, some of the things that I've done to accomplish some of the pictures. I will be doing some of those as some of my first episodes, because I'm sure not a whole lot of people are actually going to watch this. I'll also try to bring in some people to help do this series with me, bring in their expertise, show how they take pictures. So let's get started. This is the basics settings that you will find as soon as you hop into the Forza photo mode. Actually, I'll show you exactly what happens when you will go to your pause menu, photo mode, and it will place you right in front of the car. What I normally do is I try to look around the car, see what makes this car different from other cars. As you can see, I've kind of stanced it, whatever you want to call it. I've stanced this one out pretty well. Some people may hate the wheels, whatever, I like them. You want to look around your environment and see what's all here. There's a helicopter in the back, kind of almost the same color as the car, similar, and there's kind of this background. This is very low res, as you can tell. Forza really doesn't care about their backgrounds. They care more or less about the models of the car, which they kind of fail on that too, but it doesn't matter. Here are basics. Now, with your zoom, you can either add in more of the background when you push in the car. As you can see, it's just over halfway through the picture. Or you can back up and zoom in. This will give you less of the background and more of the foreground, which will kind of block out some of the stuff you don't want to see. Some of the building you probably don't want to see. And also kind of give you a little bit more of a dynamic effect. You can raise the height, lower the height. There's nothing on top of the car. I wouldn't recommend raising the height. Since most of this car is very low to the ground, I always try to keep my car, or the height of the camera, on the ground. You have your roll, which is your left and right D-pad. Your up and down D-pad is zoom. Your left and right trigger are height. Your left stick is pan and move. Your right stick, another, I guess, pan / yaw, and your up, which changes the pitch. Now we have all the basic controls down. You will go and press X on your subject that you would like to focus on, and then you press Y for your effects, and you'll start on this section. Shutter speed is how long the shutter stays open. Now you can put it at 100, which will make the shutter stay open. It will be right around a 1/13th to a 1/16th of a second with a real camera. That's just how long it stays open. Puts more motion into the picture. This is your manual focus. This will push the focus all the way back or all the way forward. I normally don't use this setting, simply for the fact I have my X button, which is the focus button. It is an autofocus. Very useful. Here is your aperture. This is kind of like an f-stop on my camera. It is how open the lens actually is. It really hard to explain. I've got a tutorial or a more of a explanation on the forums of what aperture really is. It's kind of hard. Basically, it's just able to create more of a depth of field. Brings more focus on your actual subject that you're wanting. This 0 is a very, very small aperture. You'll have an f-stop of around 22 to 30, which will show no blurry in the background. Everything is 2D. Everything is in focus. This 100% is more like a 0.5 or 0.8 f-stop. This will make only what you want in focus. Granted, the closer you get to your car, the f-stop doesn't stop. You will have a lot of blurry just from this section back. Whereas if you back up, well, actually use the same spot, and zoom in, you'll have less blurry, but you have what you want. A lot more of the car in focus. Now let's get back to our normal picture that we have. All right, and zoom in. Okay, here is the picture that we were at. Exposure. A lot of people get exposure and brightness mixed up. Exposure is how much light is let into the picture at one time. This will be in correlation with your shutter speed on an actual camera. Shutter speed and aperture. But in Forza you're able to actually change the exposure. This would be a very bright photo. You would only use this in very dark places, or if you're really good at artistic photos, you will be able to use the exposure very well. Exposure and brightness, that is where the difference is made. Exposure is how much light is let in. Brightness is more of how bright the picture is, how much light is in the entirety of the picture. This includes shadows, midtones, highlights, and such. Exposure is strictly light, not how much more the darker areas. As you can see, when you push up light, you get some of the darker areas still aren't bright, but the entirety of the picture is bright. It's where the light's coming from. Contrast is also different from bright. As you can see, when you're messing with the brightness, at the lower, when they're more together, they kind of look like they do the same thing, but backwards. Contrast, you'll see some of the blacks will turn gray, and you turn up the contrast, they'll turn black. Whereas with the brightness, you do the same thing. You turn down the brightness, they turn black. Turn them up, turn gray. But brightness is how much light is being let in through all the picture. Contrast is the difference between light and dark. Zero contrast, there is no difference. It is all gray, period. When you turn the contrast up to 100, there is a sharp difference between light and dark. That's why you'll see the car is one color. It is not multiple colors. It does not show dimensions anymore. It's just a solid red. Unless you do get to this other color, which is more of a blue. It's more of a pink. And this is all black. Now, we'll turn the contrast back down because we're not trying to do an artistic picture here. We're just trying to do a picture. Color, how much color is in the photo. You can have zero, you can have full saturation. Full saturation, I've rarely used that. Maybe on white cars or some of the other brighter colors, I'll use 100% saturation. And also my some of my more artistic photos, I will use 100% saturation. This is also zero. There is no color at all, period. Sepia. You can take your cold temperature photos, which is this. There's a very blue overcast of the photo. You turn it to sepia. There's a very warm, very orange. kind of an overview. Sepia was used back in the older times for the black and white photos as a protective film. Now people use it as a filter to make cool, quote unquote, hipster photos, as I'll call it. And a lot of people are able to run 100% sepia, and then they use the, or 100% color, 100% color with a little bit of sepia to try to give the photo a little bit warmer feel to it. Whereas this is very cold, this is a little more warmer. Feels a little more like a desert day. Vignette, I normally don't use this setting at all, if at all. I'll use it on some of my photos, some of my more artistic photos. Basically, it's just like this little filter that Forza 4 added in that I really hate, because none of them look good, especially that one. That one's horrific. I don't understand what they were thinking when they did this one. That one looks dumb, unless you want to use like a little bit of it on the sides. And that one I use for speed shots. I'll probably turn it to that on a regular speed shot. Not really going to get much different than that. But this is the basic Forzatography guide. You just want to mess with the photos just a little bit if you're trying to do a realistic photo. More of the artistic photos you'll want to play around with all the settings, experiment, do what you need to do to really experiment with the photo. Like that. That is a basic artsy or cool photo, if you want to call it. But if you see a photo on my thread or a photo you've seen that you would like to see recreated, please comment, message, PM me, send me a message on Xbox Live. I'm always on, always live streaming. So if you like I said, if you have any questions, just ask. I'll answer it. If you have a picture that you would like to see done, also tell me that you would like to see it done. I'll get around to it. I'm hopefully going to be sending these out at least once a week, if not 2 times a week. So, yeah, this is just your basic tutorial on photos and what it is, how it works. I will talk to you later, and have a nice day.